All right, let's go. It's Thursday morning. It is 8 a.m. in North Georgia. Yes, I got a little sunburn. I look a little, you look a little red in the face there. Yes, I got a little sunburn yesterday. Really great day to spend with Oscar Poole's family and friends and get an opportunity to broadcast Oscar's funeral yesterday. Just great people, the entire Poole family. Now, I like to put things on the internet every morning. I post something on social media, and I actually really enjoy it because let me get some pictures going here because we're going to have a lot of guests today, so we're not going to have time. And we're going to go through picture show early this morning because we want to talk about Jim Mattis, Mad Dog Mattis, number 11. Okay. Now, I post something, pull up number 11 there. I post something every morning on Facebook. I put some topics up that we're going to discuss. I write things that I know. I do it on purpose that will bring out the comments, that will push to the top the people that just can't take it, expose the left, whatever. And I always know the ones that don't watch the show, they just go on there and can't take it. If you could have some keywords, bureaucrat, deep state, Obama, whatever it is. Okay? Whatever it is, and man, it just brings them out. So somebody commented this morning and said that I nauseated them. And I get that. I could be nauseating, I guess. My comments and how dare me say this and blah, blah, blah. And I wrote back, I said, do you watch the show? No, I couldn't take it. I'm just nauseated by what you write. Interesting. Got it. So this morning I wrote, Mattis rebukes Trump. I wrote a 44-year bureaucrat, and I have been taken to task online, but they won't listen and they won't watch. I'm on record right now this morning of thanking, respecting, honoring all the men and women that have given their life, have given all, have dedicated their life to the service of this country. I respect them, the men and women. I don't blame the men and women on what's happened in the military to this country. But when Mattis wrote what he did yesterday, okay, and he got into all of a sudden, okay, on Monday, Democrats hug a tree. On Tuesday, they hug the Constitution. On Wednesday, they hug the coronavirus. On Thursday, maybe they're out there hugging Joe Biden's hairy legs with corn pop. I don't know. And I'm not joking around this morning. Okay? Mattis wrote something very profound constitutionally. Our Constitution. I love when they find our Constitution. They did not find our Constitution when we were in two, to me, senseless wars. Mattis did not challenge anyone because of his career on what the military has done with rules of engagement, what we did and spent. Okay? Trillions, 6 trillion, 7 trillion, whatever, trillions of dollars. Leaving our kids' blood on the sand in Iraq and Afghanistan and other senseless places around the world. He did not feel he needed to speak up at that time. He did not need to speak truth to power, right? You know? So General Mattis's 44-year career. Now, let me look in the camera and tell you, I have a lot of friends, veterans, okay, retired military veterans, okay, friends. And I look into the camera and they know you have my highest respect for your service. But what we also know in the old Pentagon over there, okay, right? And once you get up into the general rank, now I had a young man work for me for several years that was 8 years in the military. He was a Marine. He is a Marine. Once a Marine, always a Marine. And this young man spent 3 years of that time in the military as a secretary for the general. This young man could type and he could do notes and he could do reports. And this young man sat in my office for years and told me stories about general walking in and saying, I got to give a speech to this group. Get this ready. Put this in it, this in it, this in it. And he would have to put it together for this general. This young man, whether maybe he lied to me, right? But no, he sit and told me stories. Not bad about the general, but how when you get into that rank, how political, how they're all making a move. The bureaucrats, the political top level. And Mattis is no different. Mattis worked for Trump for a year now. We don't have time this morning to go into it, but don't forget, okay? When Trump first came in office, he had people like Rice Previs, right? He had people like Paul Ryan. He had people coming in and backslapping him. Mr. President, we could show you how you can wade through. Trump went, what did he say, 17 times he was in D.C. in his life, just rolling numbers. On the 18th time, he was president. Trump walks in the Oval Office, the president of the United States, and everybody's telling him this is how it works, okay? This is how it works. So let's remember before to me, there's no coincidence. A good friend of mine that's a politician, oh my God, I don't believe I said that. Did somebody record that? I hope you didn't record it. A friend of mine that's a politician. Oh my God, I'll never live this one down. Okay, a politician that happens to be my friend, no matter how you put it together, it doesn't come out. All right, so said I sent a message one day about something that was happening politically in the news. And I said, is this just a coincidence? And the text back was, there is no coincidence in politics. Damn. So is it a coincidence that George W. Bush has spoken out? Now, go to number one. Let's start with Obama. Remember yesterday we talked about the dual presidency? Okay. Look, I'm going to say, I mean, you may not like it, but I watch MSNBC and CNN and I watch all them. And the journalistic orgasms that they have daily to get to report this stuff. You get up one morning and you watch Yasmin Vazougia and you watch Allison Camerado and you watch these people on Morning Joe, Minka Brzezinski. They're like, I'm not joking. I'm being serious. Watch them one morning and see the joy they're having as they know they're faking it, as they know that chronologically this is happening. So Obama comes out yesterday. It says, Black people to feel hopeful even as you may feel angry. Feel hopeful as you may feel angry. Okay. Barack Obama, 8 years president of the United States of America, 8 years. Within 2 of those years, he had a supermajority. Now, for those out there that don't study and haven't taken all your classes, a supermajority is 60, okay, in the Senate. Remember Arlen Specter from Pennsylvania flipped a coin and said, I'm a Democrat? 60, a supermajority, meaning nothing stopped them. So every young Black American out there, every Latino, Latina, every Asian, No matter who you are, even the white guilt people, you feel guilty that you just are white. You don't know what to do about it. Remember, he could have fixed it all. He could have created the perfect utopia across this country that we all could have been singing Kumbaya with little daisies in our hair, sitting in the middle of a dewy pasture in the morning. Whatever the hell. He could have fixed it all. He had a supermajority. He had the majority in the House of Representatives. Nothing could stop him. So he wasn't feeling your anger at that time. He didn't know there was any injustice. Number two, Obama urges young people to keep up their protests to bring change. Well, keep up your protest, okay? Well, the media, now they love this, but the media, somebody on the media said this morning, where's it at? I wrote it down because it was unreal. I could not believe that I heard somebody say, now it's gone from tear gas, okay? Remember, Trump came out, tear gassed innocent people, just innocent people, so he could do what? Walk to the church. There's never a news report that says the night before there was an attempt to burn this church down. The Church of the Presidents is what it's called. Never. Okay? We watched Notre Dame burn. Watched it. Remember? No discussion. And it has been, he dispersed peaceful protesters with tear gas. And today, let's see, systematic racism. Park, this was a quote on MSNBC, the lady that used to be with George W. Bush. Park cleared by chemical agents. Park cleared by chemical agents is what she said, quote. He used chemical weapons on his people? He's going to call out the military? There's absolutely no discussion on TV about the murder of the retired captain or sergeant in St. Louis, the murdered man in Dallas. There's no discussion about law enforcement they're getting attacked and injured. Okay, two rights don't make a wrong. What's what Mama said. Number three, why Obama chose to speak out now. Okay. Number four, USA Today, George Floyd live updates, memorial in Minneapolis on Thursday. Barack Obama pushes police reform. I thought Barack Obama pushed police reform. I thought Bill Clinton put cops on the street. I thought George Bush sent our kids overseas to have them come back with no arms and legs or in a casket. My God, what successful leadership. Number five, George W. Bush releases rare public statement on George Floyd. He calls threats towards African-American protesters a shocking failure. Let me tell you what's a shocking failure, George W. Bush. A shocking failure was your campaign rhetoric in Atlanta, giving a speech about the highest, a false number, the highest black home ownership in America, knowing why you gave that speech to get elected in your second term was a lie, and the real estate market was getting ready to collapse. How about a shocking failure was your administration, George W. Bush? What about a shocking failure that you sent our kids over in the sand to be killed, dismembered, lost the lives of our kids, and spent trillions of dollars of our money? How about that shocking failure called your presidency? Oh my God, but George W. Bush was right there after 9/11, throwing out the first pitch and standing. America hears you. Kiss my ass, George W. Bush. Yeah, that's how I really feel. Oh, he just doesn't like Democrats. Well, there you go. Take that one, okay? I need to reel this in. I got to be a shocking failure. Black home ownership. No, let me tell you what a truth is. Let me get to the point. George W. Bush, okay? Number 6, George W. Bush on George Flynn protest. It is time for America to examine our tragic failures. I'm going to tell you what, man. Serenity now, serenity now. How can you listen to this? Is it a coincidence Obama's out there? Is it a coincidence that George W. is out there? Is it a coincidence that Mattis came out yesterday? There are no coincidences in politics. You got it? Don't think it. It's all a setup. It's all a setup. You can say anything you want about me. Do your research. Read. Get your head out of your whatever. Not going to say it. I'm going to try to be nice. This is my try to be nice. I said to myself, don't let this get out of hand, BKP. Hell, look what happened. Number 7, Donald Trump is the first president in my lifetime who does not try to unite the American people. Now, you're upset with me because this guy, I called a bureaucrat. This guy, I said, I have got, please do not talk about the service of this great man. First president in your lifetime, Mattis? Have you lost it since you left your post? 44 years, first president in your lifetime that did not try to unify American people? I'm going to tell you what, if you actually watch what he didn't try to unify American people. 3.8 unemployment, the lowest black unemployment. Let me tell you something, outside the media and people like General Mattis, we get along until the media says we don't, because we were busy working. Now we have paid protesters. They're not paid protesters. Yes, they are. We gave them enhanced unemployment. We gave them 12. There's 43 million Americans out of work. They got time to go. First president in your lifetime that did not try to unify the people. Number 10, military leaders become increasingly vocal against Trump. Let me ask you a question, military leaders that become vocally against Trump. What happened to your budget over the last 3 years? Boom. How come you haven't been out saying, well, Trump is lying? Trump said, hey, look at the dilapidated equipment we had. Our equipment was downhill. We didn't have bullets. Hey, who's got the bullets? Who brought the bullets? We don't have any. Obama didn't give us money. We had bullets, didn't have ammo, didn't have equipment. He wanted to make us peace through strength. Remember Ronald Reagan? I will build up the military and scare the bejesus out of them damn Russians, the USSR, and I won't pull the trigger, but they'll know I'm ready. Boom, boom, USSR gone, done, wall is down. So where are the military leaders about all the pay raises, highest pay raises in how long? Do the research before you attack me. Military leaders. I got to get on here. Number 11, Mattis rebukes Trump. No coincidence, folks. Get that through your head. Number 12, Defense Secretary breaks with Trump on using troops against protesters. Not protesters. Holy mackerel. I'm going to say things in foreign languages. That way, maybe you don't understand what I really said. All right, I don't really speak foreign languages. Anyhow, are you serious? Really? Protesters? Trump has never, they lie to you if you will pay attention and open your ears and eyes. He has never asked the military to go against peaceful protesters. Never. George Floyd is dead, damn it. The 4 law enforcement officers are arrested. These kids don't know what they're protesting, and the others are using it as an opportunity to do early Christmas shopping. And Trump said, there's more. George Floyd is dead as one man. Oh, I know. Black Lives Matter. Bada bing, bada boom, right? How many have been killed? How many police officers have been stabbed? How many are in the hospital from rioting and attacks? Number 15. Mattis denounces President Trump, describes him as a threat to the Constitution. I'm going to have to get past that. Number 19. Mattis denounces Trump, threat to the Constitution. All right, General Mark Milley. Now, they want to create havoc and chaos. They want to bring this country down. I'm sorry, I can't say it any other way. Number 22, okay? Now, this is Mark Milley's memo to the joint forces. He is the chief of staff, general. Now, they are trying to say that what he said to the troops is against Trump. It's not. It's not against Trump. Here is number 24. Here is his memo. We all committed our lives to the ideal that is America. Now, Biden did a commercial on this, and this is where I'm going to have to probably wrap it up because I have 3 guests this morning. Elections Tuesday, and if you haven't made your mind up, I'm focusing on the 9th Congressional District of Georgia. We'll get to that in a minute. Number 25, look at this fence line. Biden does a commercial yesterday. He tries to tell you, okay, that we need leadership. This country is crying out for leadership, okay? Now, kids in this country, let's go all the way up to 35 years old. 35 years old, okay? That would be these little bebopping kids that claim to be journalists, that claim to be all-knowing, that claim to be the generation of progress instead of progressive, okay? George W. Bush was president for 8 years. George H. Bush, 4 years. Bill Clinton, remember Cops on the Street? 8 years to beat down black men in inner cities. Bill Clinton, he was president 8 years. Barack Obama was president 8 years. 28 years of failed leadership. Biden was a U.S. Senator for 36 years and Vice President of the United States for 8. Why do you think when you see number 26, this lady's probably 30 years old, why do you think when you see number 33, Biden's campaign launches digital ad in swing states using speech on civil unrest? Why do you think when you see, let me get to it because I'm not going to get to all of our pictures today. I'm going to try to get as many as I can. Why do you think when you see number 47 there, okay? Look at that right there, 47. Why do you think they don't know and can't recognize leadership? Why do you think? 28 years of a continued failed leadership. These kids think leadership, you know what these kids think leadership is? Who brought the best snack for playing ball? Who was treated fair? Leadership. Do you see the examples? In 3 years, do you really think, do you want to sell your kids? Do you want to convince people in 3 years' time? Not just 4 months ago, the greatest economy. You go do the research. Manufacturing coming home, repatriated money that we never had before, breaking the globalist stranglehold on these children and their future. Not even 4 months ago, that Donald J. Trump is responsible for the hatred. He's responsible for not unifying a country. He's responsible for a pandemic. He's responsible for riots. He's responsible for the police in the whole entire United States. He's responsible in just 3 years of the social morality, the breakdown of our country, our families, in 3 years. And you're going to let somebody like friggin' Joe Biden tell us America's crying out for leadership? Look at this picture and understand why these kids don't recognize leadership. I know why they don't. Okay. Number 57, really quick. This is Tom Wolf, governor of Pennsylvania. Black Lives Matter. He's marching in front of a protest in Philadelphia. You cannot sit down at a restaurant today. He is attacked and he still has small business closed in PA. He's running a communist state. The guy holding the sign, Black Lives Matter, is in Philadelphia in a crowd, okay, is the governor of Pennsylvania, which is leading the way to show you how to steal a national election. Now, my sister Lee Snover cannot be on today because there's some shenanigans going on in Pennsylvania's primary. She wants to get all the facts, hear everything from the state Republican Party, and get everything together before she comes on, because we're going to do that Monday. Now, I want to play that video. I played it. Send it over. 30 seconds. I think it is. Play that. Come back.
About racism, anti-blackness, or violence.
About racism, anti-blackness, or violence.
I will use my voice in the most uplifting way possible.
I will use my voice in the most uplifting way possible.
And do everything in my power to educate my community.
And do everything in my power to educate my community.
I will love my black neighbors the same as my white ones.
I will love my black neighbors the same as my white.
Denouncing being white. What the hell is wrong with you damn people out there? Denouncing being white. And I initiate you? Whew. All right, folks. Boom. Change gears. When we come back, we will have Kevin Tanner. He is running for 9th Congressional District. He is a candidate. We have Kevin Tanner, Ethan Underwood, and John Wilkinson today. Monday, we'll try to get 3 more candidates. Let's take a break. We'll be back after these messages. Let's see what Kevin Tanner thinks about some things going on.
Hello, my name is Chad Watkins. I'm the manager at Larry's Body Shop. We are a family-owned and operated business and have been serving the North Georgia area since 1978. We are located at 1216 Progress Road in LOJ, Georgia. Our shop specializes in collision repair, and we work with all major insurance companies. Larry's Body Shop is ICAR Gold, the highest role of training recognized by the collision repair industry. It is estimated that only 10% of collision shops meet these standards. Our shop consists of state-of-the-art equipment such as laser measurement system, down-drive spray booth, spot and MIG welding equipment. All of our paints are mixed on-site so that we can guarantee your paint to match every time. I know that having an accident can be a stressful event. We take pride in making sure our customers are satisfied with the repair of their vehicles. Our waiting area is clean and comfortable with free Wi-Fi and refreshing beverages. So if you're in an accident, stop by and see us at Larry's Body Shop.
Circuit World has 9-piece living room packages at incredible prices. Get this stylish sofa and love seat, 3 tables, 2 lamps, 43-inch 4K TV, and stand, all for only $1699.99 or $129.99 a month. Or get this 9-piece living room and reclining sofa and reclining love seat, now only $1999.99 or $149.99 a month. These packages are amazing. Stop in today at one of our 5 locations and get the furniture you've always wanted at Circuit World.
North Georgia Diamond is your source for diamonds in North Georgia.
Ace is your healthful place for paint and home goods, tools, outdoor living, and lawn equipment. But did you know Ace Hardware of Blue Ridge is a little bit more? We have hunting rifles and accessories for your next hunting trip. We have Amish furniture imported directly from Ohio. And we have Ace Custom Woodworks for all your custom wood project needs, from cabinets to artwork. Ace Hardware of Blue Ridge. We have your new house in stock.
As Georgia opens back up, it's time to come back to Days Chevrolet in Jasper with huge savings on the North Georgia Mountain's biggest selection of pre-owned vehicles. All makes, all models, all with low miles and a super low price. Or buy new and get 0% financing for 84 months on every single Silverado 1500 or Equinox at Days Chevrolet in Jasper. Days Chevrolet. Days gets it done. Find new roads.
All right, folks, we're back. I'm your host, BKP. Good morning from the office, North Georgia's only live online morning show. All right, Tuesday in Georgia is Election Day. And just a reminder, Monday, a Trump delegate from Pennsylvania and also a Pennsylvania Republican State Committee member will be on with us Monday to talk about that election up there and what took place this past Tuesday. But if you're in Georgia, this coming Tuesday's Election Day, June 9th. Now, we've had early voting, and it's still on till tomorrow. Tomorrow's the last day of early voting. We've had absentee ballots, and now Tuesday for those like myself. I believe in Election Day, okay? Not judging, but there's some of us out here, maybe you're undecided, but you're going to vote Tuesday. And our first candidate this morning in the 9th Congressional District race, State Representative Kevin Tanner. Mr. Tanner, how are you today?
I'm doing well, Brian. Thanks so much for having me on this morning.
Well, you know, you're going to be in a group that's going to be written in history of how to campaign from the living room, from the backyard, from the tractor, and not out on the road really shaking hands. Talk a little bit about the last couple months, how your campaign's got the word out and how you've been trying to reach voters.
Well, you're exactly right, Brian. When I first was asked by folks, leaders across the 9th District to run for this seat, and we prayed about it, it never entered into my mind that something like this would occur, and COVID and the traditional ways of getting out and meeting voters would really be out the window. So one of the things I think that's been very important in this race, and we'll see how it comes out on Tuesday, but has been personal connections that we've had over the past 30 years. I know leaders, I know firefighters and farmers and EMS workers and leaders in the community that I've developed relationships over the last 30 years. And I think now more than ever in this race, picking up the phone, if you're a local citizen, calling your local sheriff, calling a local leader and saying, look, I don't know these people. They've not had an opportunity to come see me. So who do I vote for? Tell me a little bit about these candidates. I think that's probably more important than ever, and that's served me well thus far because we've got great relationships with a lot of leaders in the Montgomery County, Pickens, Fannin, all up and down the 515 corridor, and that's helped us well, I think.
Let me ask you a question. One of your opponents, Matt Gertler, he is endorsed and supported by Club for Growth. Why do you think? And here on the screen, I'm showing I received in the mail 2 different attack pieces. Now looking for a career, 2 career Gold Dome politicians now looking for a career in Washington, Kevin Tanner and John Wilkinson. We're going to have John on later this morning. And I have both of them in front of me. Why is Club for Growth labeling you as the career politician? And why do you think they spent all this money supporting your opponent, Gertler, and putting you and Wilkinson together? What do you think they see in both your campaigns, especially yours, that they sent this out?
Well, I think a couple of things. I think number one, this is the same group, and I think it's important to remind listeners, this is the same group who has spent millions of dollars over the past several months running TV ads attacking Congressman Doug Collins, President Trump's number one defender in the House, U.S. House of Representatives. The same organization that attacked President Trump, the same organization President Trump called a phony organization. This organization wants someone to carry their water. They're a black, dark money special interest group out of Washington, D.C. that's looking for someone to carry their water. They know that I'm an independent thinker, that I'm going to make my own decisions, and ultimately my decisions are going to be what I personally believe to be in the best interest of the 9th Congressional District, not in whatever water they're wanting me to carry that day. Now, as far as a career politician, you know, people who know me get a good laugh out of that because, you know, Brian, you may not realize this, but most representatives and senators that are serving in Atlanta rent an apartment, rent a condo. They stay in Atlanta during session. I have never spent a single night in Atlanta the time I've been serving in the legislature. I come home every night to be with my family, my wife, my daughters, and to run my businesses. We make $17,000 being legislators. When I first got elected, there's a story, and I don't follow Atlanta Unfiltered very often. They do a lot of attack pieces on legislators, but there's a story, and you can Google it. When I first got elected, I gave up $1 million contract, what they called $1 million contract, and that was the case over several years, to provide security services at one of my companies, provided security services for technical colleges. And we had won that bid and had it for about 10 years. It was a sealed bid, perfectly legal for me to continue. But because I personally thought that it did not pass what I call the smell test, I gave that up. I'm as far from a career politician as you can get. I think that what scares them is they want to burn the system down. They want dysfunction in Washington, and they know I've got a track record of being effective. If I go to Washington, we're going to get things done. We're going to return common sense to the process. They're able to get donors and donations from burning the system down, and I just don't play that card, Brian.
Well, you know, if you don't mind me saying something, I want to highlight something you said to kindly magnify for the viewers. You've said this several times on the show, and I don't want to take any representatives to task. I don't want to take any state senators to task, but you have said several times that you drive every day to session. And I don't know if that point is really resonating. And let me say that I'm trying to look for the words, because it's not illegal, folks, for a company to own an apartment complex and offer an elected official a good rate on a rental. I'll leave it at that. Now, you don't have to comment on that, okay? You don't have to comment on that, but that's not illegal. So for me out there, for you, when you say that, Kevin, if you mind if I call you Kevin, Mr. Tanner, when you say that and you tell the voters, hey, however long you've been in there, you drive there every day back and forth, to me, it resonates with me. And you understand what I'm saying? I mean, I don't know if I'm picking up 100% what you're saying, but you know what I'm trying to say here.
Yeah, and one of the things, Brian, that I think is important, and I've got a great deal of confidence in the voters in the 9th Congressional District, and I believe that they see through the nonsense and the rhetoric that comes out of these special interest groups. I encourage them to take a look at my Facebook page, my Kevin Tanner for Congress page. There's a link where I filmed for 1 hour with ETC the other day, your cable channel up there. And we really got in, and they can see and hear my story of who I am. We need to send someone who represents our values to Washington, someone who has lived the life of the average 9th Congressional District person, but someone who has a broad array of experiences, that's smart enough to get the job done. And I think that's when they look at my record, that's what they'll see. We don't need to send someone who is beholden to a special interest group day one. People can also, it's public record, you can go and look at where people's money comes from to run for office. That does not show the special interest dollars, but it does show where the money's coming from. If you look at the representative you mentioned by name earlier, over 60% of the money that's been donated to him has come from outside the district, outside the state, over 60% from outside Georgia. Now, in addition to that, over $300,000 has been pumped into this race on his behalf to run TV commercials, and even more than that, to attack me by mail-outs. Now, there's a reason that someone's spending those kind of dollars to get one particular candidate elected. And it's not because they think he's going to be best for the 9th Congressional District. It's because they think he's going to carry their water in Washington. That's not me, Brian. I'm not the guy that's going to do that.
Yeah, they knock on the door and they say, remember us, we're the group. Let's talk about some things. And they knock on the door. Let me just say this, because whether people are on board or not on board, what I'm able to see is the majority of your endorsements are actually people, sheriffs, former governor, Speaker of the House, whatever. They are actually people that are in the 9th District that are endorsing you, of what I'm seeing. Not groups. Are there any groups in DC that are endorsing you? Any groups outside that people should be, that you want to tell people, yes, you have their endorsement?
No, you're right, Brian. The people who are endorsing me are people who can actually go to the polls and vote for me on election day. They're sheriffs, and every person listening today, more than likely, their sheriff has endorsed me. I've got a great TV ad out now with Sheriff Nicholson in Gilmer County. Former Governor Nathan Deal has endorsed our campaign because he said we need effective leadership in Washington, and Kevin's demonstrated he can actually get something done. But the folks that are endorsing me, the endorsements I want are folks who are ultimately going to be constituents of mine if I'm their congressman, because they put faith and confidence in me. They're looking out for their children and their grandchildren. They're not looking out for one particular issue or a special interest that they have. They're looking for someone who's going to represent their values in Washington. So those mean much more to me than any special interest out of Washington. And I'll encourage people, when they watch a TV ad for an opponent of mine, or if they get a mail out attacking me or any other candidate, look at the return address on it. Look at who is paying for it. When it says Washington, D.C., that should raise a red flag very quickly. Washington's broke, and we've got to get it fixed, and we're not going to fix it by sending folks who are beholden to dark money groups out of D.C.
All right. Well, you asked me to do that, so I think I will, okay? You can't see. Paid for by Club for Growth Action, 2001 L Street, Northwest, Suite 600, Washington, D.C. So you asked me to look at it. I did. Yeah, exactly. They're coming. That's where they're coming from. Let's switch gears with what short time we have. The session is going to resume. Is it the 10th or the 11th?
I think it's probably going to end up being the 15th.
The 15th?
Back and forth.
Okay.
But I think it'll probably be the 15th.
I know they've been going around on the dates, and when the session resumes, it's going to be 10 days. And we had House Speaker David Rawson on here a couple weeks ago commenting on the governor's, the revenue that they feel they're going to have to make cuts on the budget. Can you highlight some of the things you think are going to happen in that 10 days and what it's going to be like trying to put a budget together for the state of Georgia?
Yeah, the Appropriations Committee's already been working. We've asked, along with the governor, for what it would look like to cut 14% across the board, no exceptions, out of every agency. The agencies have submitted those budgets. They have testified before Joint Appropriations Committees at several meetings to start taking a look at that. So the Appropriations Committees are well underway with the budget process. There are going to be some painful cuts, Brian. Fortunately in Georgia, we are required to balance the budget, unlike Washington, which I think is one of the biggest issues in D.C. now. But we're going to balance the budget. We're going to fulfill our constitutional mandate just like we do every year. In addition to that, I think one of the things that the leadership in the House has done is they've taken a look at what are important bills that are outstanding, bills that had not passed. And I think you will see several other bills come before committees and come before the House and Senate, and we're going to try to get some work done. Leadership has made it clear that the people sent us there to do a job. That's our primary responsibility, and we're going to complete that task. All of us that's been elected will be there till the end of the year. I'm a representative for my district that I serve, and I plan to fulfill that obligation. So we're going to get our jobs done, but the budget's not an easy process, and there's going to be a lot of painful cuts that's going to have to be made.
All right, let's talk about right now. We have unrest across this country. We've had protests in the 9th District, some going on. We've had some protests going on. We have enormous spending happening with COVID-19 and paycheck protection and enhanced unemployment. What say you on some of the things that you think when you get to Washington, if you get there, the voters send you there, that have to be addressed? And what are some of the things that are totally, you feel, out of control right now with Washington, D.C.?
Well, I think that the special interest groups that's driving the conversation in Washington is part of the problem. They have driven insanity. They really are driving just complete insanity in D.C., and a lot of that gears around spending. Spending is completely out of control, and it has been for several decades. And it's not just one party. All parties are to blame for the spending problem we have. I'm not sure that ever gets completely under control until we force a balanced budget amendment into the Constitution. I fully support a balanced budget amendment, but as a congressman, I also support living within our means. As a business owner, as someone who has ran a law enforcement agency, someone who's ran a local government, and someone who owns multiple businesses, I always have lived within my means. Someone who's on the Appropriations Committee. Look, Brian, the federal government wouldn't know how to cut 14% out of the federal budget. They don't even want to talk about that. Even in this downturn, they just want to spend more money, unlike the state of Georgia where we're going to make cuts. So I think spending's number one. As far as the things that are going on across the country, Brian, there's people out there that are looking to divide us. There's people out there who are looking to just create turmoil. And then a lot of those groups are funding candidates on both sides, Republican Republican and Democrat candidates. They want to create anarchy in this country so they can destroy the institutions that we have built and our founding fathers have built in this country. And I, for one, I didn't just want to go to Washington. I have no interest in being a United States congressman, but I feel like God's blessed me with certain abilities and talents, and I'm not willing to sit by as my country's destroyed without jumping into the fight and doing my part. So we got to bring some common sense back to Washington. We got to bring folks to Washington that's more interested in serving the people that sent them there, the voters, than they are serving special interest groups and serving their own future political goals and making themselves wealthy by serving in Congress. Again, you can check out that Atlanta Unfiltered article. I've lost a tremendous amount of money by being a state representative. I'm confident if I'm in Washington, my businesses will suffer and I will lose money by being a United States congressman. So that's not what it's about for me. It's about the future of this country.
What is, tell us a little bit about your campaign. How do you think things, you have any internals, polling, any data, anything you can share with us on how you guys think Tuesday night looks for your campaign? I know to me, people ask me all the time how I think it looks, and I'm just honest with them. This is more difficult based on, normally we would be out at an event 7 days a week and you'd be able to talk to the voters and get a feel for things. So how do you guys feel about Tuesday night?
Well, we're excited. We're feeling the energy from the voters. I'm getting emails and phone calls every day. People excited to vote for us. People excited to spread our message. I think folks have saw through the nonsense. They saw through the special interest groups. And I think people are taking this election very seriously, and they're taking a look at the candidates and they're saying, okay, who has a broad background, who has the experience, who understands the issues. Agriculture is number one industry in Georgia. I'm a farmer that farms the same land we farmed for over 160 years, ran local government, ran a law enforcement agency, has started and ran multiple businesses very successfully. And I think voters that's resonating with voters, and the feeling that we're getting back is very positive. But we've got a lot of candidates in this race. Every vote counts. We need every voter to get out and vote, and not just in my race, but in all races. We need to then get past this election and get energized for November and make sure we return President Donald Trump to the White House. And that's going to be my number one goal after this election's over with, is getting in the field and doing everything I can to make sure Donald Trump's return to the White House in November.
All right. Representative Tanner, the next Tuesday on our show, this will probably be the last time we're able to have you on. And we appreciate every time that you come on, we contact you, you come on the show. But let me just say this, okay? You are the one on the show, and we thank you for that. And what we look for here, okay? What we look for here is a congressman that our show can keep connected to the 9th District people. And what I mean by that is, every couple weeks, ever since Congressman Collins was elected, every couple weeks or at least once a month or whatever, he would come on the show and connect to the viewers, not me. And what's important to me is that we're able to keep that connection. So I would just like to ask you, if elected, we wish you well. If elected, please continue to come on the show and stay connected to our viewers. And that's important to us here.
Well, Brian, I promise you I will do that. And I also want to just tell you, every Saturday morning during session, since I've been in the General Assembly, I've had a legislative breakfast every Saturday morning for my constituents. So staying connected to the voters is important. You do a wonderful job with Fetcher News all across North Georgia. So I appreciate that offer. And if I'm elected to Congress, I will be on your show on a regular basis, staying in touch with the voters and listening to their concerns.
All right, take 30 seconds to talk to the voters about Tuesday night.
Well, I encourage you to get out and vote either today or tomorrow, early voting, or at the polls from 7 to 7 on Tuesday. My website is www.votekevintanner.com. cell phone number, 678-776-5059. I encourage you, if you haven't made up your mind, contact your local sheriff, contact your local officials, reach out to someone who knows me personally, ask them about who Kevin Tanner really is. Also encourage you to look at our Facebook page, Kevin Tanner for Congress. Take a look at the ETC interview we did. It'll tell you a lot about who we are, and I think you'll see that we're the right guy to send to Washington. I ask for your vote on Tuesday.
Thank you very much. We appreciate it. We wish you well, and we know you're busy and have to get out there. And now you're able to go, I won't say shake hands. We won't say that, but now at least you're able to go out and meet some of the voters, and that's been good. Kevin Tanner, 9th Congressional District candidate. We wish you well. Have a nice day, sir. We appreciate it.
Thanks so much, Brian. You too.
All right, folks, we're going to take a break, and when we return, we're going to take a break, and when we return, we will have another candidate, okay, for the 9th Congressional District. So let's take a brief break, and we'll be right back.
Circuit World has complete queen bedroom packages at amazing prices. Get this queen bed, dresser and mirror, one nightstand, bedding set, and free 32-inch TV, all for only $1799.99 or $129.99 a month. Or get this complete queen bedroom set and sleep in style, also for only $1799.99 or $129.99 a month. What an incredible deal! Stop in today at one of our 5 locations and get the furniture you've always wanted at Circuit World.
North Georgia Diamond is your source for diamonds in North Georgia.
I'm Jeff Riblett, President of Asset Protection Group. As a certified financial planner and with 20 years experience, I've helped thousands of families and business owners create a tremendous amount of wealth. Fortunately, most of that wealth has been protected. Don't allow an unforeseen life event, such as a nursing home stay or the next market meltdown, destroy your family's wealth. Be smart. Call me. Let's determine how best to protect your assets and preserve your wealth.
In 1981, Reed Nicholson began selling tires out of an old barn in Mineral Bluff. Little did he know that he had just laid the groundwork for the most trusted names in automotive services in the Blue Ridge area. In 1997, Nicholson Tire Center became what it is today, holding the same values of faith, family, and great customer service. 2 locations to serve you, and the Blue Ridge location is currently expanding to offer fast service and the largest U-Haul provider in Georgia. Nicholson Tire Center, Blue Ridge, and Mineral Bluff.
Okay, we're back, and I'm your host, BKP. Good morning from the office, North Georgia's only live online morning show. You know what? We're focusing on the 9th Congressional District here. That's a big one, big race. A lot of really big local races. Don't want to discount them. But between now and Monday, we're going to try to figure out how to give every candidate another opportunity to talk to you. Some of you already early vote. Some of you are like me. I believe in election day, but hey, that's what you do. So our second candidate this morning, focusing on the 9th Congressional District, Ethan Underwood is joining us now. And Mr. Underwood, how are you this morning?
Good morning, Brian. Please call me Ethan.
I will. I will. And that's what I enjoy. I meet so many of the candidates, and I feel good that we get on a first name basis. Let me ask you a couple questions, maybe in a little different direction. Well, first of all, how are the meet and greets? Because I've noticed on social media, you're out there hitting the road now, and if you can talk to 20 people, 30 or 5, you're doing it. So how is that going?
It's going fantastic. The energy's out there. I think we're hitting our stride right when we want to in the campaign, and we're meeting folks who are just tired of being pent up, and they're so glad to actually be able to meet the candidates. This has been such an odd campaign. I mean, when we think about it, when we started in January, we had the best economy in 30 years. We had the lowest unemployment rate in living memory. I mean, like since the 30s. And in 5 months, that's all been changed on its head. And we are now I've told folks it's a dangerous time. And we've got to send the right person to Washington. And I going out and meeting people face to face, they're excited about it. It's exciting to see people who say, hey, I already voted for you. And it's exciting to see other people who say, tell me why you're the best candidate. So it's, as I told you a little earlier, we're running on caffeine and adrenaline. We're in the last 5 days, but we're excited, and I'm excited about the opportunity to serve the 9th District as their congressman.
Well, yeah, you're exactly right. I mean, you will be a part of a group, a historic group that will be the first political campaigns that have to be run totally, through social media and websites and different YouTube and things like that. And as I say, Ethan, normally, we would be talking right now where both of us were at last night talking to voters, and the world changed. So people call me and ask me for a read on the campaign and the election. And I truly cannot give them a good read where normally I'm able to. I feel good I can. So what's that like for your campaign? Highlight what kind of read you're getting across the 20 counties and how you feel about Tuesday night.
Well, we are writing a book on this, and God willing, no one will ever have to read it. We don't ever want to go do this again. And shutting down the economy, I've tried to figure out why our guys do this. I completely trust President Trump's judgment on it. And I really think that they had some intelligence that this was going to be worse than we thought it was. But to President Trump and to Governor Kemp's credit, once the data's coming in, they're saying, look, we got to turn the economy loose again. So I fully support that. What we're seeing on the campaign trail is it feels good, Brian. Like you said, it's hard to read folks, but when we go out and meet people, the energy's there. And I think our message is resonating. I am an attorney. I'm a property rights attorney, but I'm one who fights government. Not, people always talk about, I fight government. I literally fight government. It's what I do for a living, and I'm pretty darn good at it. I represent people in businesses when they go up against the government. I'm good at wading into hostile situations and getting good results. And sometimes people negotiate better than others, and when they don't, I'm good at fighting. I think that's the skill set for this time. We've got a lot of good candidates. We got 9 of us in this race, and they're good people. But at the end of the day, the voters have to decide who's the right person for now to carry the football. And I think with the hostile situation in D.C., the fact that we are giving up to the Senate, and I'm fully endorsing Doug Collins' race for the Senate, we're giving up one of the most articulate fighters that we've had in D.C. we can't lose that. We've got to replace that with somebody with the energy and who can articulate the conservative message. And I'm the right candidate for that and for this time.
Let me ask you a question because of if you could share a little of your background with the Republican Party in Forsyth County, and also what as being involved with the Republican Party in the 9th District for quite some time. How do you see is the 9th District unified behind the president? I mean, what do you really see as far as the party is concerned in the 9th District?
You know, going out and meeting people, we were in LJ last night, and it just affirmed. I mean, we've got guys that are smart business people. They started their own businesses, and they are 100% behind President Trump because they feel, and they're right, he's the only person who's come out and really fought for them and said, you know what, I've got these great business opportunities, and we've had career politicians for years just tell us the same stuff over and over and over, everything everybody wants to hear when they get elected, but then they get to DC and they don't do it. And President Trump bucked the mold. He was a businessman. He was not a politician. He'd not served in public office before. And, you know, that's similar to me. I'm an attorney. I have other businesses that I'm operated in. I've not served in public office, but I've worked in the Republican Party for 25 years. I'm 42 years old. I started when I was 15 years old. One of my teachers was a Republican Party chairman in Hamilton County, Tennessee, which is Chattanooga. And her father's in the General Assembly, got me involved. And the Republican message resonated. I want to brag on my parents, if I can take a second. They grew up during the Vietnam era, and their parents did not have the means to help them go to college. So my dad, you know, he went in the military, came out, did the GI Bill, and he went to school. She was a cosmetologist, and she put him through school. And then when he got done, he flip-flopped and went to work like she had been doing. And then she went to school and got her master's degree in biology. And they taught me that if you work hard because of America, because of the system we have, if you work hard and you're just willing to put the time in, we've got the opportunities here. So those Republican principles resonated with me, and I've been fighting for them for 25 years. I've served as a county party chairman, which was, you know, during the Tea Party origin, which was wonderful. It was fascinating to see all these new people come and get involved. I've served as a district officer. A lot of folks may recognize me from chairing the district conventions. That's another skill set I bring to the issue. You've seen me work procedurally and fairly, but we need somebody who can go to DC and understand the procedures. You can get things done, or you can stop bad legislation if you understand how the procedures work in the House. And that's the first things I'm going to be doing, is learning the procedures of the House and studying the budget when I get up there, see what we can do to reduce spending and make sure that I can act effectively in DC for the people of the 9th District.
Well, let me say this. Let's touch on a couple things. One, right now there's a lot of unrest across the country, and even there's protest in the 9th District. We want to be clear here. There's peaceful protest, and then there's riots that are not associated to peaceful protest. And of course, you know, now this morning, all 4 officers have now been arrested and charged in the death of George Floyd. But what is this mushroomed into? And do you think that the protests now are still about George Floyd, or there's outside influences?
Well, first off, I want to say that George Floyd should not have been killed, and he was murdered. The officers who did what they did, I mean, they had arrested him on having a counterfeit $20 bill. That should not be a death sentence. It never would be in any court of law, and they ought to be put under the jail. And I sympathize with his family, and I am glad we're finally having a discussion about, you know, how can we get over our racial tensions. We have blocked everybody in this country as well. We've got African Americans, and we've got Caucasians, and we've got Indian Americans. You know what? I dream of a country where we all say we're Americans and we buy into the system, that we all have the same opportunities, and we're going to look out for each other. And I'm excited about that dialogue with our African American countrymen. And it's I want them to feel loved and appreciated, and that they're just as part of the system as we are. So I welcome that discussion. I welcome the demonstrations. We had folks who were angry about being quarantined, and they have a right to assembly, and they asserted their right to assemble. And so I'm excited people are out there saying, we're tired of racism. We want to end it. And so if you want to be a peaceful protester, God bless you. Let's have the dialogue and let's make America better. But when that devolves into destroying personal property and rioting, that has got to be stopped immediately. And whatever means necessary has to be taken, because we can't just forego civil order. We can't forego the American understanding of order. And we also, we got to respect private property. That's what I do for a living. I'm a property rights lawyer. And we've got a generation of folks who think they can just destroy others' property because they feel like it. And that's got to be stopped.
Well, I agree with what you said. When George Floyd was pulled over, we have a system. It's supposed to work, that if you go through the entire process, maybe, the system would have said George Floyd should have been put to death, which we know that would not have happened.
Never happened.
Right. So you're exactly right. The law enforcement, which we support law enforcement, but the law enforcement that pulled George Floyd over did not have the right to be, the judge, jury, and sadly to put an executioner of George Floyd there on that sidewalk for a $20 bill, and realistically for anything else. Their place is to enforce the law, not to make a determination. That being said, I agree with that. What can we do as a country? Because I'm going to say we've had, I call it failed leadership for years that has not unified this country. And a lot of people, you being an attorney, and I know it's private property, is different, but at the same time, we see multi-tier justice system. Now we're out here, and I'm going to say for myself, we believe it's called justice for all. So what do we exactly do? What direction do we go in, Ethan?
I think, Congressman Rob Woodall is the congressman down in the 7th district. And he was one of the guys that I called before I decided to run and said, what's the life really like? Is it, what should I expect? And he made a very profound statement to me. He says the biggest surprise when he got to Washington is that there are people, he used to think that Democrats truly just woke up in the morning and wanted to destroy the country. And he said they actually believe that what they're spouting. It's not just that they're nefarious. They actually believe it. And that there is, there's a large faction of people that don't think like we do. And unfortunately, a lot of African Americans truly feel that America's system doesn't work for them. And I think our job is to have the dialogue and to listen and say, okay, look, what doesn't work for you? What do you feel is not fair? And I think, I'm going to defend the American system wholeheartedly, but we've got to, as Republicans, go into these communities and reach out. We can't just sit around and be, the party of that. If you look at the demographics, we look pretty similar. To survive and to win elections in the future, we have got to convince African Americans. We've got to convince Indians. We got to convince Hispanics that, limited government, economic opportunity, personal responsibility, and freedom and justice for all works for you. It works for me. It works for everyone else. And our lives will be better. And that's what's going to protect the country. As Ronald Reagan said, liberty is only one generation away from extinction. And if you have a generation who's been taught and they don't believe that it works for them, then they're going to be, we're here, right? We've given up our education system to the liberals, and they've taught these kids. And now you've got, let's look at it. You have a lot of suburban white kids out there burning things down in the cities as well. They truly believe that America doesn't work. And now is the time we've got to send a fighter to D.C. to defend the American system, but who can also wade in with people who don't think like us and convince them that we can all work together and make America better.
Well, you touched on the education system, and I'm glad you brought that up. I know sometimes people don't like the way I approach some things, but I called it failed leadership. And I said this morning, if you're looking around and you're looking at our children from young people now from 28 to 35, if you look at the leadership they grew up under and the education system that they grew up in, they truly do stand there and don't understand why things are the way they are.
Mm-hmm.
And they are truly at a loss. And what you're saying is we've got to get back to doing a better job to talk to our young people and show them that, hey, the Constitution is for this and your freedom is this, and so on and so forth.
That's right. And I, as we've talked about from the get-go, there are people walking around, and I think the last time I was in on your show, I said there's actually members of Congress that think America was built on flawed foundations and they're trying to change it fundamentally to embrace socialism. Well, those people's supporters are now in the streets physically trying to change things. So one, we've got to crack down on the rioting and stop that. But I'm looking forward to the dialogue. I believe in America. I think most of us believe in America, and I want other people to believe in America who don't now. And we've got to send folks up there who can have the hard conversations. I've got no illusions about what I'm asking the voters to do, Brian. I'm asking you to send me into a hyper-political environment and to be effective and to work with other folks from parts of the country that just they don't live in God's country and they don't see the world that we do. But without sacrificing our principles, without sacrificing our freedoms, we've got to go into a hostile territory and get things done. And I think I bring that skill set, that demeanor, and frankly, the stubbornness to get it done to the table. And I would love to represent the people tonight.
What about, and we'll give you just a couple more things. I know you gotta move along to get to so many of the events you have planned between now and Tuesday. And I'm actually very glad for all of you candidates that you're able to actually get out and say hello to voters right now. Nancy Pelosi, Speaker of the House, what are some of the things that have to happen? We just have outrageous spending. It's enormous. We do know, I think most Americans know, that the president had to do some things to keep us from totally financially collapsing. But we're at looking at 20% unemployment, 40-some million Americans out of work. And we have governors that are not opening states back up. And the majority of those governors that are not opening states up are Democrats. So what can we do to get back? And what do we have to do in Congress to try to get us back on some kind of stability in this country?
Well, first and foremost, we need to win back the House. And I know that's not going to happen until November of this year, and then hopefully in January we'll be in the majority. But what we really need to be doing is because at the government's request, we have shut down businesses. You talk to restaurant owners, they say they're 75% down. So we've reduced their revenues. We've had them furlough their employees. We need to be reducing taxes. If businesses have lost revenue and they need that money to be hiring employees back, we don't need to be collecting them at the federal level. We need to reduce spending, which is where Republicans always seem to drop the ball, is we're good at cutting taxes, but we don't reduce spending. We've got to have those hard conversations and cut unnecessary spending. We need to change the CARES Act. On the road, I've been talking with business owners, and they're saying, look, we're trying to hire people back, and we can't get them back because they're getting more money on unemployment than they are if they come back and work for it.
In enhanced unemployment. Keep going.
That's right. That's right. So, I mean, that has got to be changed. Look, what was an emergency. I don't believe that the COVID crisis is a farce. I think it was real, but I think the Democrats are using this now. We've gotten to it where we've seen it's not as virulent as we thought it was. We need to be sending people back to work. And now the Democrats, if we just hold on a few more months, we can influence the election. And I think that's what this has devolved into. And we've got to push back on that. President Trump he's a fearless leader. I'm 100% behind him. I'm going to be working 100% for his reelection. You got to stand up to him, and we've got to turn these states loose. And if these Democrat governors want to keep their states locked down while our conservative governors are letting them go, then we need to be just pounding on that in the media and saying, look, unemployment rates are dropping where we're getting people back to work. Why are you still holding your people back? Why are you still locking it up? And show the Democrats for what they are, which is they're manipulating a crisis in order to try to win an election.
Well, you said influence an election, manipulating a crisis, and you did talk about enhanced unemployment. And I will just tell you this. I talk to a lot of small business owners as well as yourself. And right now, it's not the point. Unemployment was designed for just what it is. And in 2008, 9, and 10, when the economic collapse, and we understand this is much larger in a different way, but millions of Americans went to the unemployment office, and it didn't matter what you made. Okay, it didn't matter what you made. If Georgia says you get $352 a week, that's what you got, and nobody did enhanced. So now there's people making more money on unemployment than when they were working, and I'm all in.
Fundamentally wrong.
I got it, and I'm all in favor. Like, we have an unemployment system, but enhanced unemployment is a major deterrent to go back to work. That could bring unemployment down. So I'm glad you brought that up. Influencing the election, I'm glad you brought that up also. What do you see as far as the first of the year, if we could win back? And this is one question I've asked a lot of people, and I asked last time on the show, if we win back the House and the Republicans take the leadership roles, I myself, I could speak for a lot of people, but I'm just going to go myself. The last time we, the Republican Party, had the chamber, we didn't do so good, as they say. Just say it like that. It didn't go so well. That's how we feel. So what say you if the Republican Party could win back the chamber? What has to be different this time? And what promises need to be made and kept to the American people?
I think, I'll tell you, we've got to balance our budget. We've got to reduce our spending. We've got to have tax cuts to stimulate the economy again. And I'll tell you, the balanced budget amendment, I'm fully in support. I will endorse it. Term limits, I fully support and I endorse. But constitutional amendments, they're hard to get. And I think that as the Republican Party, we need to have that Newt Gingrich style contract with America to say, you know what, we're going to change the House rules to where we are not going to do these omnibus spending packages that are 2,500 page bills that no one can read. It's physically impossible to read them and know what's in them to vote for them. And so, you know what, we're going to adopt a rule that says it's going to be a single issue. We have that in the Constitution here of Georgia, that single issue, reduce those bills down, and then let's do what the Democrats do. Let's set them up and say, you guys go have to change this rule. You guys take the media flack for saying, who in the world would want to change the rule and say, well, no, I want to go back to 2,500 page bills. We can set up procedural pitfalls for them that help the economy, but it also points the Democrats out for what they are, and that's manipulating the system and making it harder to do business in America.
Well, I didn't mean to interrupt you, but what you said there, as far as if Republicans change the rules, then they will be exposed, and the Democrats let them do the yelling at the media that they want to change them back, and then finally maybe people say, "Oh, you mean that was a rule in the first place, and you want to go back to it?" So
it'll hold the Republicans accountable.
Absolutely.
I want the voters. If I'm elected your congressman, I want you to hold me accountable. I should be. I'm not going up there to write a book. I'm not asking to go up there to make any more money. I mean, candidly, I'm asking probably to give up the best earning years of my life because it's important. This is an important time. It's a dangerous time, and we've got to have the right person to keep the federal government from getting its tentacles around things it'll never let go of.
Okay, Ethan Underwood, take 30 seconds, talk directly to the voters. What do you want them to hear? Go ahead.
Folks, I'm an attorney who represents people against the government. I would be honored to have your vote. I am good at wading into hostile situations. I'm good at getting results, and I'm good at fighting. I think that's the skill set that we need in DC at this time. It is as we said, it's a dangerous time, and we've got to have the right person up there. I have spent my career protecting businesses and individuals. I go into it from that perspective, and I would be honored to be your representative in DC. I hope you'll look at my website. I'm pro-life, I'm pro-Second Amendment, I'm pro-business, but I'm pro-America, and we need that in D.C. now. My website is voteethanunderwood.com. My cell number is 770-842-1007. I'd be honored to earn your vote, and I'm happy to speak with you if there's any issues you want to discuss.
Thank you, Ethan Underwood. We appreciate you for coming on the show. We wish you well, like we do all candidates, and we know you're busy out there with what days remain between now and Tuesday, trying to meet all the voters you can. So have a wonderful day. And again, thank you for being on the show.
Thanks, Brian. Appreciate you.
All right, Ethan Underwood, and he is out there meeting and greeting, and all the candidates are taking this time now that the state of Georgia is back open to get an opportunity to actually go face-to-face and talk to some voters. We're going to take a break. When we come back, we're going to have another candidate for the 9th District with us. Take a break.
Hello, my name is Chad Watkins. I'm the manager at Larry's Body Shop. We are a family-owned and operated business and have been serving the North Georgia area since 1978. We are located at 1216 Progress Road in LOJ, Georgia. Our shop specializes in collision repair, and we work with all major insurance companies. Larry's Body Shop is ICAR Gold, the highest role of training recognized by the collision repair industry. It is estimated that only 10% of collision shops meet these standards. Our shop consists of state-of-the-art equipment such as laser measurement system, down-drive spray booth, spot and MIG welding equipment. All of our paints are mixed on site so that we can guarantee your paint to match every time. I know that having an accident can be a stressful event. We take pride in making sure our customers are satisfied with the repair of their vehicles. Our waiting area is clean and comfortable with free Wi-Fi and refreshing beverages. So if you're in an accident, stop by and see us at Larry's Body Shop.
Circuit World has 9-piece living room packages at incredible prices. Get this stylish sofa and love seat, 3 tables, 2 lamps, 43-inch 4K TV, and stand, all for only $1699.99 or $129.99 a month. Or get this 9-piece living room and reclining sofa and reclining love seat, now only $1999.99 or $149.99 a month. These packages are amazing. Stop in today at one of our 5 locations and get the furniture you've always wanted at Circuit World.
North Georgia Diamond is your source for diamonds in North Georgia.
Ace is your helpful place for paint and home goods, tools, outdoor living, and lawn equipment. But did you know Ace Hardware of Blue Ridge is a little bit more? We have hunting rifles and accessories for your next hunting trip. We have Amish furniture imported directly from Ohio. And we have Ace Custom Woodworks for all your custom wood project needs, from cabinets to artwork. Ace Hardware of Blue Ridge. We have your new house in stock.
As Georgia opens back up, it's time to come back to Days Chevrolet in Jasper. With huge savings on the North Georgia Mountain's biggest selection of pre-owned vehicles. All makes, all models, all with low miles and a super low price. Or buy new and get 0% financing for 84 months on every single Silverado 1500 or Equinox at Days Chevrolet in Jasper.
Days Chevrolet. Days gets it done.
Find new roads.
All right, folks, we're back. I'm your host, BKP. Good morning from the office, North Georgia's only live online morning show, 9:33 a.m. And we have another candidate with us. We're going to do this again Monday. So follow us on our social media pages there to see who we have lined up Monday. And I want to say I thank the candidates for, they're getting free airtime. I mean, if they're talking to 5 voters, 500 voters, and I thank them for coming on and talking to you. We have tried to do everything here to introduce you to these candidates as much as we possibly can through these difficult times of trying to get their message out. Our next candidate for 9th Congressional District race is Georgia State Senator from the 50th District, John Wilkinson. John, how are you this morning?
I'm doing great. And Brian, I'd like to say good morning to you and all your listeners. And before we get started, I would just like to take a moment to commend you for the great job that you do with Fetcher News and getting the word out all over North Georgia, and especially in the congressional district where this race is centered. I know it's been an unusual time for all of us, but I think you've really gone above and beyond the call of duty to help get the word out from all the different campaigns, and I appreciate that.
Well, I thank you for those kind words, and I appreciate that, because that's just our main focus during campaigns. I've talked about this with several candidates. You know, you're going to be a part, should we call it an elite group, but you are going to be a part of history within your campaign, and so many like it across the country, no matter the race, that has had to campaign through social media, YouTube, websites, and not able to go. We were talking before we come on. I always have a minute or two with the candidates before we come on live. I mean, that very first morning at the Union County Republican Party breakfast, is it 3.5 months ago, almost 4 now?
I believe it is.
When both of us were at that breakfast, we thought that was going to be the campaign style. Is, you know, I'm used to watching candidates grab their signs because they eat breakfast here, lunch here.
Yeah.
And that just did not happen. Now, how are you doing in the campaign, and how are you doing in your strategy to get the word out in these different times of politicking?
Well, it has been different. I mean, it's been a time that I don't think any of us could have imagined even 5 or 6 months ago, but that just shows us how life is and how things can change in a heartbeat. And we've done our best to adjust with the circumstances that we have. I think a lot of campaigns, our campaign included, we've tried to utilize social media and the different forms of media, just like your radio show, and you've given us this opportunity. And I know that you're on TV and all the different forms of media that you reach out to with your followers. It's been very important to us, but we've done our best to adapt. Of course, I didn't grow up in the age with social media and those kind of things, so I've had to depend on some of my young people. You know, during my career, I worked with very bright young people, and I've had some great young people and older people working with the campaign, but we just tried to utilize the social media and the resources that we've had to try to get our message out. And as we mentioned before we came on, I told you that Senator Jack Hill, who passed away recently, always used to tell me, you don't know how you look till you get your picture took. So I guess they're going to take our picture on Tuesday, and I'm hoping that we're going to be happy with the outcome.
Well, you know, yes, it's very hard to gauge a campaign and see where you stand. And we talked a little bit about that, because one person, and this is and they're not in the race, but an individual called me about the time, you know, people were deciding to get in, and said, you know, do you think I should run? And I said, are you ready to have breakfast in Gilmer County, try to make it, you know, to White County for a lunch meeting, and then head out to Habersham for a nightly meeting? Are you ready to do that 7 days a week? and as you know, and that just all changed for us. So let me say that, go ahead.
I'll tell you this, Brian, since you brought that up, I was really looking forward to that part of the campaign, because people talked to me about how large the 9th Congressional District is. And when I was running for the state Senate, they talked about having to campaign in 8 counties. Well, if you look at my background, I had statewide responsibilities in agriculture and education for 26 years. I averaged 35,000 miles a year traveling around the state. And when you talk about having breakfast in Ellijay, lunch in White County, dinner in Elbert County, I remember one day in particular during my career when I had breakfast in Ellijay and dinner in Thomasville, and made 3 stops along the way getting to Thomasville. So even though it is a big district, you know, my background, there are 180 school systems in the state. I visited every one of them. I averaged 35,000 miles a year traveling for 26 years. So it doesn't seem quite as daunting a task for me as it might for someone who hasn't traveled to that extent in our state.
Let me ask you about your campaign, and I want you to be able to comment on any of the subjects that are taking place today. You know, the 9th District, agriculture, from our farmers, from the fields, what we produce, from apples to chickens, the list goes on and on. I mean, it's unlimited. And I ask candidates all the time, what are some of the things that are, really important to the 9th district? When you go up there, what are some of the things? And obviously, we hear all of these things concerning Democrats spending and this and that. And I don't know if we talk enough about the 9th district, particularly in agriculture. And you are really trying to get that word out about the 9th district and the importance of that, are you not?
Well, I really am. And I just think that farmers in general do such a good job producing our food. I mean, if you really look at America and what makes us great, one of the reasons that we're great is because we have the most abundant food, the safest food at the lowest price in the world. And that makes a big difference. I heard someone say one time, we couldn't have planned a space shot and a moonwalk if the people planning it had been concerned about where their next meal was coming from. And as you mentioned, agriculture, agribusiness, it's the biggest business in our state, has a $72 billion impact on our economy. And a lot of people think, well, maybe the agriculture is focused on South Georgia a lot. And of course, peanuts, cotton, those kind of things are. But out of that $72 billion, $32 billion of that is from the poultry industry. And the poultry industry is concentrated in North Georgia. In my Senate district, in Senate District 50, for instance, 4 of those 8 counties are in the top 10 in Georgia in farm gate income. Even though the percentage of people actually farming is not that large, 1 out of every 7 jobs in our state is directly linked to agriculture. So for Georgia to remain strong, for our country to remain strong, we've got to continue to be a leader in food production.
Well, anybody in the 9th district has 20 counties, and anybody might be able to associate their highway. And I will say this, and you know this from your travels around the district. Everybody has that highway they can associate with. And I'm going to say in Gilmer County, if you go out 52, right, I think we could find enough apple farmers, right, and poultry, so we'll just say that. And everybody in every county has that one highway running through it where the farmers, as you just spoke about, we know how important it is to this district. And also the fact that, we're fortunate to have the Secretary of Agriculture, Sonny Perdue.
You're exactly right. And of course, I've known Secretary Perdue since he was the state senator from Houston County. And when I began this campaign, back when you could still get on an airplane in Atlanta and fly, at the very beginning of my campaign, I visited with Secretary Perdue in his office in D.C. We had a good visit. President Trump appointed an Agriculture and Rural America Advisory Committee during his campaign in 2016. He appointed 3 Georgians to serve on that campaign on the advisory committee, Sonny Perdue, Gary Black, and myself. So I have served in that capacity with President Trump's team since that time. So I just feel like my background and experience in the industry of agriculture are beneficial to me, and I think it'll be a big benefit to the constituents in the 9th Congressional District.
All right, let me switch gears for just a minute with what time we have left. This past week, the mailer started hitting the post box, and the mailer
Circuit World has complete queen bedroom packages at amazing prices. Get this queen bed, dresser and mirror, one nightstand, bedding set, and free 32-inch TV, all for only $1799.99 or $129.99 a month. Or get this complete queen bedroom set and sleep in style, also for only $1799.99 or $129.99 a month. What an incredible deal! Stop in today at one of our 5 locations and get the furniture you've always wanted at Circuit World.
North Georgia Diamond is your source for diamonds in North Georgia.
I'm Jeff Riblett, President of Asset Protection Group. As a certified financial planner and with 20 years experience, I've helped thousands of families and business owners create a tremendous amount of wealth. Fortunately, most of that wealth has been protected. Don't allow an unforeseen life event, such as a nursing home stay or the next market meltdown, destroy your family's wealth. Be smart. Call me. Let's determine how best to protect your assets and preserve your wealth.
In 1981, Reed Nicholson began selling tires out of an old barn in Mineral Bluff. Little did he know that he had just laid the groundwork for the most trusted names in automotive services in the Blue Ridge area. In 1997, Nicholson Tire Center became what it is today, holding the same values of faith, family, and great customer service. 2 locations to serve you, and the Blue Ridge location is currently expanding to offer fast service and the largest U-Haul provider in Georgia. Nicholson Tire Center, Blue Ridge, and Mineral Bluff.
Hello, my name is Chad Watkins. I'm the manager at Larry's Body Shop. We are a family-owned and operated business and have been serving the North Georgia area since 1978. We are located at 1216 Progress Road in LOJ, Georgia. Our shop specializes in collision repair and we work with all major insurance companies. Larry's Body Shop is ICAR Gold, the highest role of training recognized by the collision repair industry. It is estimated that only 10% of collision shops meet these standards. Our shop consists of state-of-the-art equipment such as laser measurement system, down-drive spray booth, spot and MIG welding equipment. All of our paints are mixed on-site so that we can guarantee your paint to match every time. I know that having an accident can be a stressful event. We take pride in making sure our customers are satisfied with the repair of their vehicles. Our wait
All right, folks, we're back. We're sorry we froze up just for a second, but we got it back there, and we'll have the full interview up we're now with State Senator, 50th District, John Wilkinson. Let's talk about what short time we have. Let's go into switching into another gear. What about right now we have protests, and some are peaceful, and we have some protests not so peaceful, and then we go right into riots. What would you say concerning, what is your take on George Floyd and what took place in Minneapolis and what it's turned into and where we're at today?
Well, of course, from the things that I've seen, of course, we're a nation of laws, and everyone is presumed innocent until they're proven guilty. And I try to keep that in mind regardless of the scenario. But I think it was very much a tragedy. It turned my stomach to see the video and to think that could happen. I mean, obviously, that was a tragedy, and I don't think any reasonable person can be happy with that. And I don't think we can just sit by and not take action. I think we have to be proactive, and I think there are a lot of good people from all races and all nationalities in our country. First of all, America is the greatest country in the world. We never need to lose sight of that. And if we've traveled in other countries and look at how they handle protests and some of those things, we realize how blessed we are to live in America. Now, I do think there are people of all colors in good faith who have protested, and I think that's one of the great things we have in America, the right to peaceful assembly and peaceful protest, and I think that's important. But I think we have to balance that with what we've seen in some of the cities where we've seen just a whole nother group of people, not the peaceful protesters, not the people that are genuinely concerned about what has happened, but the people that have come in with the nightfall, with the violence, with the guns, that have taken innocent lives of all races and done those kind of things. I don't think that we can afford to tolerate that kind of activity. So we just have to utilize our rights as Americans to the peaceful assembly, the peaceful demonstrations, and then the people who are not concerned, who are not out there really because of the George Floyd instance, but they just want to create havoc and steal and kill and those kind of things. We've got to be able to handle that also.
All right. We've got just a couple minutes left here. Tuesday night, election night, what do you want to close with as far as talking to the voters? What would you like to say to the voters right now, and share with them?
Well, of course, I'd like to have the opportunity to look them in the eye and shake their hand, but since I won't, I'd just say this. I think you can tell a lot about a person by how the people that they've grown up with, have known them all their life, feel about them. And I just want you to know, every race I've run in my home county, I've always gotten over 80% of the vote. I try to be a what you see is what you get kind of person. I'm not a show horse. I'm a workhorse. I've never missed a day of work in 9 years at the General Assembly. I've always been accessible and always had my cell number on my business cards. And if I have the good fortune to go into Congress, I plan to be there every day working for the people of North Georgia, and I plan to be accessible. And Brian, thank you again for giving me this opportunity. One of the good things about this campaign for me has been the opportunity to get to know you a little bit better.
I appreciate that, and we feel the same here. We enjoy talking to the candidates, meeting the candidates, and seeing the hard work that each and every one of you are putting into wanting to be the next congressman in the 9th District. So as we tell all candidates, we wish you well, and we know election night Tuesday, we will see. Because we're gonna find out Tuesday night. Like you said, you're gonna get your picture taken Tuesday night, right?
That's right, Brian.
And that's when we'll see. Thank you very much for being on the show. And again, we wish you well, and we'll be back in touch real soon.
Thank you very much. Bye.
All right, State Senator John Wilkinson. Now, listen, we're sorry. We're going to do everything we can to fix the little bit there that froze up that we went to commercial. So we'll talk about that, get it up. Now, those are 3 candidates, John Wilkinson. Okay. And I don't want this on the recording. If you can take this off, because I want to keep the recording clear for the candidates and not mention others' names. So are we ready? Boom. All right. John Wilkinson, 9th Congressional District, Kevin Tanner, and Ethan Underwood. Now, we will invite for Monday, Matt Gertler. We'll give him an opportunity to answer any of the questions here. Spend 30 minutes. We'll invite Matt Gertler. I will figure out, with only 1 day left, giving all candidates right around 25 minutes, how to get everybody left on the 9th on the show somehow, some way, but we will do it. Okay. Now tomorrow, and go share these videos with your friends. Okay. They're undecided. Share these videos. That's all we're trying to do is get you to be able to meet these candidates. Tomorrow we're going to be at not Circuit World. Well, you go to Circuit World, buy a TV, buy a washer, buy a dryer, buy a living room suit. But tomorrow we start our outdoor shows on Friday at Sycamore Crossing. Sycamore Crossing, we'll have Ask the Doc. Dr. William Whaley and Raymond Tidman will be with us. We'll have the all-star political panel with our regulars. They're just regulars, okay? Then we'll, yes, okay, Bruce, Jane, what's the other guy's name? Rick. I'm going to have fun. I'm going to get in trouble tomorrow, right? And then we'll have North Georgia Senior Living with Jesse Barton, the Community Relations Director at Cameron Hall. And we will close with our Pet of the Week from the Humane Society of Blue Ridge. Yesterday, we had an opportunity to, I'm going to say this, and this is how I want to close today. About 2 years ago, okay? We'll throw 2 years. That's not the point of the story. I always call him the Colonel. Colonel Oscar Poole summons me down to the barbecue. You would get messages. Can you come down Saturday? Well, that meant you better get down there. So anyhow, a couple of years ago, I go down there and he says, I need to talk to you. Okay. Now, my funeral. I was kind of taking back. All right, okay, your funeral. You're going to handle the media. Okay, it's going to be a media event. Now, I'm serious. You're going to handle the media. Now, here's how it's going to go. Now, if you're new to Oscar, the hand started. Here's how it's going to go. Joe McCutcheon is going to be master of ceremonies. Now, you're going to handle the media, and I'm going to be on a horse-drawn buggy. Okay, I'm listening. I'm thinking, okay. Now, we're going to start over here at the funeral home, and we're going to go down around the square, and we're going to go up here, and then we're going to have the funeral at the barbecue. So I looked at him, and I actually said this. I said, are you telling me this serious? Are you being serious, Oscar? Now, come on. Are you being... Oh, no, I'm serious. This is how it's going to happen. You're in charge of the media. I want this as big as you can make it. All right. So I thought about it. I was like, okay, we'll see. So yesterday we produced Oscar Poole's funeral. And I asked the family, I said, are you okay with us doing it live? And somebody said, you're going to do the funeral live? I said, look, Oscar, if he could ask me, would probably say, how come you didn't put banners all up and down 515 saying it was live? He was a showman. He was a marketing genius. But anyhow, yesterday we did the funeral live. All right. So if you want to go and watch this great tribute to a great man in North Georgia, a great Republican, I don't have time. It's 10 o'clock. List goes on. Go to our YouTube channel, FYN TV, Fetch Your News, and then click on FYN TV, Fetch Your News, and then click on the videos, and there it is. All right, tomorrow, Sycamore Crossing. I got to try to get my voice back. Sun out of my face here today. No outside. I'll be back tomorrow. Go to our YouTube channel and check out all the interviews and make an informed decision Tuesday on who to vote for. Take us out of here.